To A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm your host, Tomás Garza. And as always, I want to thank you for joining me here today on Enlightened World Network. And a special welcome to all of you who are watching this live stream on my personal Facebook page. In an effort to reach more people, I am now live streaming to my personal page rather than my business page, Awakening to Love, which, of course, you're more than welcome to visit. And back episodes of this live stream can be found on Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel under the playlist A Course in Miracles 365. That's the title of the show. And there is a playlist there that's updated regularly with every live stream that I've done here on the network since January when I started. So thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in here today. And well, here we are. We're going through some very foundational pieces of universal spirituality as they're presented here in the spiritual text known as A Course in Miracles. If you've never been through this before, welcome. What this is a presentation of universal spirituality. In other words, spiritual ideas, concepts that we can take and we can practice and put into use in our daily lives, no matter what our background is, no matter what our current spiritual practices look like, no matter what religious tradition we may or may not come from. There's something in here that's directly relevant to everybody's situation. Why? Because spirituality at its core is universal. What it is quite literally the subtitle of this live stream. It's Awakening to Love. That's really what we've got going on here. And what what I want to say is it really actually is that simple, but as human beings, we make it super complicated, don't we? And today's lesson is an idea, lesson 71 in the workbook for students. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Okay, no matter what religious tradition you're in, here's what we mean by that. Salvation's not outside you. All right, I feel like that's a mic drop moment, and we could just end the live stream right there with that. But of course, as human beings, we require more elaboration than that. We require proof, don't we? Examples. Well, proof is going to be your own work and your own diligence and your own experience. That will prove this idea to be true. So, if you're new to A Course in Miracles, it uses terminology that might be familiar to you if you were raised in the Judeo-Christian religious tradition. It uses terms like God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and if you're familiar with Hinduism and Buddhism and Eastern philosophy, it also makes extensive use of the term the ego, the sense of separate self, independently existing separate self that we identify with to our own extraordinary detriment in life. And that's putting it mildly, isn't it? So there's something east and west, really. It's for everybody. So what we mean by this, only God's plan for salvation will work. Well, here's the deal in the world is we seek salvation outside of ourselves, don't we? We think that a new job or a new career with more lucrative business partners, more money, better perks, you know, a better compensation plan is going to do it for us. That's going to make us ultimately, finally happy. Okay. A new relationship. We seek solace and our own salvation, indeed, in personal relationships, thinking, well, a new partner is going to make me happy, or a new car is going to make me happy. Run out and get another pet or have another child. That's going to make me happy. There's always a solution out there in the world. Now, how do we get the idea that the solution to all of our problems, the answer to every question we've ever asked is exterior, it's outside of us. Well, that's what happens when we identify with the ego. A Course in Miracles says something that is really, really beautiful and really powerful. And the ego has a mandate, it has a dictate, a motto, a slogan, if you will, and that is seek but do not find. How about that? Seek but do not find. So we're running around with this part of ourselves that we identify with, which is completely illusory, but we don't have that experience in the world all of the time, do we? Because it feels real to us. So here we are, yeah, running around thinking we're separate, having an experience where we're getting into conflict, whether we want to or not, with one person after another. And seek but do not find. So seek the solutions, most definitely, but don't find them. Why? The ego has us seeking in the wrong place. It has us looking to these external objects as the source of our happiness, as the source of our salvation, if you prefer that term. That's the word that the Course workbook uses. But if you want to substitute the word salvation for joy, like lasting, permanent joy, happiness, that sort of thing, feel welcome to do that. We seek happiness in a brand new Mercedes Benz, don't we? There are multiple manifestation techniques, spiritual techniques, and practices in the world that are designed to bring us a new house. Oh, okay. No problem. All right. So if we're going to bring me a new house, then let's have the hot tub out back, please, and a little bit of extra space in the bathroom, if you don't mind, because our master bath it's a little bit cramped. It's functional, but a little bit cramped, and we could use this and this and this and this and that. Right. Okay. So maybe we manifest that. Maybe we actually create that reality. Is that going to make us ultimately happy? Well, as fun as it might be to walk out the back door and get in a hot tub, it's not going to make us ultimately happy. Why? The happiness doesn't last. Nothing in this world lasts. It's impermanent, which is another way of saying it's not real because only the permanent, in other words, God, spirit, right, is real. And then that's right from the very first page of the text in the Course in Miracles, where the Course can be summed up very succinctly, and that is that nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. There it is, right there. So therefore, only God's plan for salvation will work. What is that plan? It's to look inside of ourselves for salvation, inside ourselves for happiness, rather than running around as the ego would have us do, looking for it everywhere but where we need to be. Literally, the ego has us running around looking for our salvation anywhere but where we're actually going to find it. So, how do we find it? Well, spiritual practice, whatever that looks like for you in your life, whether that is a meditation practice, whether that is working on these exercises here in A Course in Miracles. The ego's plan hinges around seeing yourself as separate. Spiritual practice hinges around undoing that illusion, just undoing it completely. So, if you're not experiencing lasting peace, lasting happiness, then this is a good time to ask yourself, why not? Right? And the fundamental truth here is that there is nothing wrong with us. Okay. That is at its core true. There's nothing wrong with us. We've just acquired lots of bad habits along the way. We have identified with the ego. We've identified with a separate sense of self. And we take a look at meditation practice. We take a look at prayer. We take a look at reading 2 pages of commentary in the workbook for students, and we think it's a big deal, right? We tell ourselves things like, I can't. Well, I don't want to do that. I've got something better to do. Okay, what? What's better to do ultimately? What's going to bring you lasting happiness? I mean, yeah, let's pay our bills. Yes, let's show up to our work appointments and meetings and things like that. Yeah, of course, yes. But what's going to bring us lasting happiness? And ask yourself, this is really an important question because spiritual practice will bring all this up. It will bring up, clear as day, all of our limiting concepts and beliefs. If you look at 2 pages of commentary on a workbook idea and think, I can't read that, it's too much, well, why are you attracted to it in the first place? Yeah, think about that. Think about what it is that has attracted you to this specific live stream. Really, what about it? What is it that has attracted you to A Course in Miracles in the first place? Stick with that idea because that will help. That will help get you through all of those times where you want to just close the book, where you want to go back to the old way of doing things. Why? We're conditioned, we're habitually conditioned to be lazy, aren't we? We're habitually conditioned to seek instant gratification, and spiritual practice doesn't always deliver instant gratification. However, it can. And with time and with effort, it does bring tremendous gratification because who doesn't want to be more happy? Who doesn't want to be joyful? Who doesn't want to realize that they go with the power of God, in other words, the power of the universe with them at all times, 24/7, that cannot be taken away at all? Now, who doesn't want that kind of confidence? Who doesn't want that kind of certainty in life? This is what spiritual practice is all about. That's what it brings. So, however, you're finding the workbook for students, what I want to invite you to do is just think about what attracted you to this material in the first place, especially when you have those difficult days, because they will come. Now, the first time I went through the workbook for students, I spent several days where I would habitually go through a practice period and read the idea for the day in the morning and then get swept away in life, swept up in work commitments, swept up in exercise, in cooking and doing the dishes, this, that, conversations with all kinds of people, yeah, a phone call. And life just kind of comes at us, and we find that we have so many things that pull our attention away from our practice, from the truth of who we really are. I had several days where I didn't even remember the day's idea until the following day when I pulled the workbook out and read the next day's idea and thought, oh, wow, I didn't even practice that at all. So if this is happening to you, you're not doing it wrong. This is perfectly normal. This is part of why meditation, part of why a spiritual practice is so important, is we've learned bad habits along the way. So this is part of retraining ourselves. It's part of reorienting our minds so that we can have a different experience. And it is said throughout A Course in Miracles in many different places that a tranquil mind is not a small gift. Okay. Very, very important. A tranquil mind, being chill is not a small gift. It's huge. Why? From that more calm, more relatively calm basis, you can then open space for yourself to see things differently. That's what meditation practice is for. I've had my own personal practice for about 36 years, and I'm a meditation instructor. And this is what it's for. It's for opening space for ourselves to make different decisions in life. In other words, if we're going along with the philosophy in A Course in Miracles, it's opening space for us to choose love. And that's what it's all about. It's opening space for us to choose love. So I want to thank all of you who are tuning in with me. And Lakita, hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. And all of you that are going to catch this on the replay here, feel welcome to say hello in the comments. I love and appreciate hearing from all of you. And if you have any questions about A Course in Miracles or universal spirituality at all, this is what I'm clearly interested in talking about, and I could go on and on. This is, however, a short live stream, but be reminded it is daily. So check the show guide in Enlightened World Network's Facebook page. If you haven't liked the page, follow it. There's some wonderful, really wonderful, heart-centered, beautiful spiritual programming from teachers all over the world. And it really is a fantastic place to come for some inspiration, and the shows are quite varied. This is related to A Course in Miracles, but each of them has a universal spiritual theme and stresses our common oneness. So it's very worthwhile programming. That's Enlightened World Network, and the show guide is the first page, or first post, excuse me, every day on the page that shows the time of this show and all of the shows on the network. So it's daily, and thank you all for tuning in. And please say hi in the comments and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you back on here tomorrow.